Mic Drop Moments is sponsored by Grow Radio. Want to launch your own podcast? Grow Radio are here to help. Grow Radio has launched and supported countless podcasts, and they'd love to do the same for you. Just hit record and they'll handle the rest. No editing stress, no technical faff, just a great podcast released when you want. Need a little extra support? Grow Radio's workshops and courses make getting started easy. Let's bring your podcast to life. Message Grow Radio on social media or reach out to Gary Jones, the founder of Grow Radio. Let's make this happen. Welcome to Mic Drop Moments, and today is a first for me. Today is the first time I've got a husband and wife from two separate businesses on my podcast. Welcome, Meeta and Raj.
Hi,
Hi, Sandra.
great to be here.
I'm going to come to each of you in turn, but today is all about the power of connection, and I think how we've connected truly demonstrates that fact. So, Meeta, would you like to introduce yourself? You've been on the podcast before, so you know how this works.
Hi, everyone. My name's Meeta. I'm the founder of Naturally Nourished with Meeta, and I help women in business get out of their heads, rewire their limiting beliefs, and stop playing small, ultimately.
Thank you. Raj, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, gladly. Hi, everyone. My name's Raj. I'm the founder of Scratch Cook Social. And at Scratch Cook Social, we focus on creating food experiences using authentic Indian flavors. But fundamentally, it's about creating connections around food which is cooked from scratch using whole food ingredients, which ultimately, you know, create a sense of gratitude and joy.
And I've experienced it, and it certainly did create gratitude and joy. And
Fantastic.
Meeta, we've known each other for a few years now. Let's talk about the connection point and how the connection came, because I hadn't met Raj until recently. So you and I met, Meeta. Just explain how we met and how that connection formed and where that led to.
Yeah, so I think we originally met at the NatWest Accelerator program that I was part of. I think we sat next to each other on that very first day, where there were hundreds of other people there. And we were tasked with lots of fun games for your business, one of which was find 6 words that describe your business. And I was sat next to you and you said, "Oh, I've got mine. Be seen, be heard, be visible." And I thought, oh my God, I'm sat next to Sandra Garlick. But it was a lot of fun. And then we kind of reconnected when you did another session for us, a kind of deeper dive on visibility. And you actually had a competition. So I think we were all doing our little pitch, our 60-second pitch, maybe a bit more than that actually. And you were giving away a phenomenal prize that whoever you thought spoke the best and the most confident and the clearest on stage won a prize to speak at Woman Who. And I won.
You did, and you spoke on my stage. And you didn't just speak on my stage. What you did was introduce, you do tapping, and you introduced that to my audience, and it was so well received. And since then, we've worked together as well, and you're one of my academy members. But that connection built over time. It wasn't instant. It took time. I mean, going back to that accelerator experience, that's probably a few years ago now.
Yeah, I think it was almost 2 years ago that we had that first interaction. I feel like every time it's just built and created more opportunities and more conversations and more introductions, like with Raj.
Yeah. So I hosted my very first Mic Drop Live event, and when I was looking for people to come on board and speak at that event, I was looking for people that I'd seen speak, that I knew could speak, and that would give something my audience could take away and put into action. And I invited you to come along and be one of those speakers. So tell us, you invited Raj, so tell us how that came about.
So I was invited to, the event was all about helping others get on stage and have a little 5 minute pitch for their businesses. And I was there to help calm the nerves using the tapping technique, help them with anxiety. And obviously me being on stage is a very visual performance experience. And I invited Raj along because he's not been able to come along to any of the events that I've spoken at, to really just cheerlead, take lots of pictures, and just be there for a bit of moral support. And actually, he didn't know until he got in the car that morning that it was just going to be a room full of women.
There's
So,
two other men there, I think.
yeah, Raj, you arrived at the event. There was a photographer there. He was a
Yeah,
man. Ian was there. He was videographing, and there
there
was
you go.
another husband popping in and out. So you get in the car. Mita tells you, I mean, it's great that you came along to support her. Great that you were able to go along and see her speak. What were your initial thoughts that day when you were traveling down to Oxford, and Mita said, "Come along to this event with me." What was your thoughts?
No, I guess I became more excited as we were driving down because I didn't know too much about the event apart from the fact that Mita was going to be on stage talking. So that for me was great to just see her talk in this environment. But then I learned a bit more about what the purpose of the event was, not only having the speakers that are planned in the morning, but to give people the other people the opportunity to just get on stage and talk. I thought that was really quite fascinating. So yeah, I was excited to just to listen to see these entrepreneurs and see what they've got to offer. And yeah, just really was intrigued more than anything else, I would say.
Okay. And you really, I mean, you were sat near the front, you really embraced, and you did come up to me and said, "Look, if you need any help, I'll help." And I thought, do you know what? I never ask people for help. And so I did. And you helped, you assisted on the day, you helped get people in the room, you helped me move things around, and you just embraced the day. But not only that, I saw you embracing the networking as well.
Yeah, well, I thought it really helped because um, being the only guy in the room, many of the people that are there must be wondering, who is this guy? Who is this person just sat at the front taking some videos and things, but not really professional because I just had my phone, right? I'm not like a proper
Yeah.
camera guy. But I think it really helped when you said, "Hey, this is Raj. He's going to help me move some things around. He's Mita's husband," and I think that broke the ice.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
when I was in the breaks and we're just talking, it was just easy just to go and talk to people because oh, that's Raj. He's Sandra's helper. So that helped. So I think that that introduction rather than just being the elephant in the room really was beneficial.
Well, that was my gift to you because you were helping me. I wanted everyone to know who you were, and I think that sometimes event organisers don't do that, and they don't recognise the people that actually just put their hat in the ring and say, "Yeah, I'll help."
Yeah,
And I was very grateful for that on the day.
that was a
But
pleasure.
actually, then we had a conversation during networking, and I found out a little bit more about you and what you do. And you're an entrepreneur yourself, you've got your own business.
Mm.
And then you started to tell me, and you invited me to one of these special dinners. So tell me what it is about that, because I know you love to cook. It
Mm.
wasn't what you've always done. I thought you may have always cooked. You've come out of
Right.
industry. So tell us a little bit about that and why you decided to make this your business.
Yes, as you pointed out, I've always cooked, right? I've always cooked. I grew up in a family of always eating Gujarati style food, Gujarati home food, Gujarati food, which is North Indian. My mum always cooked at home. We never really went out for dinner. So in the house, we were always having Gujarati food, but we were also, Nita and I both separately grew up in Northwest London. And in Northwest London, you were just surrounded by the cultures from all over the world. It's a perfect melting pot. So at home, exposed to traditional Gujarati food, outside of the house, exposed to everything else, running it out of in friends' houses, popping in, just grabbing some food as they grab some food from their kitchen. So I was always intrigued by food, always interested in trying new things. Um, but I guess through my career, I never really got to focus on the creative side of what you could do with food. I was more on the just going out enjoying the food. So my my career had a fortunate career which allowed me to just travel the world, visit lots of different countries, spend probably too much time away from home. I'm just looking at the reaction over here. Maybe a
Trying
bit
to
too
keep
much,
a
but I don't
neutral
know.
face.
It was all worth it. Right? It was all worth it. But during those business trips, I'd always focus on getting out of the hotel, going and exploring, trying some food, trying something new. My colleagues would take me out for food. I was in a sales role, so I was always entertaining other clients as well. So it was a great opportunity just to try different things. So I think my heritage, my upbringing, and then latterly my career just gave me a lot of exposure to food. And don't get me wrong, I had a fantastic career. I was with Bosch, a fantastic German company. They supported my development all through the 22 years I was there. But I got to a point in 2023, I guess, where Um, Looking ahead to the future, what I could see happening inside the company, what I could see for my personal development. I figure it's now or never. I now do something that I have a real stronger passion for, which is food, or I continue following the other passion, which was in automotive inside the company of Bosch. But I guess it was that decision to follow the passion. It sounds a bit cliche, right? Everyone just does that and say, "Oh, my passion is a passion project." But it was after a lot of thought, a lot of thinking together with Meta and saying, "Is this the right thing for us as a family? We've got a lot of commitments around us." But again, it's either now or never. And so that was the decision to take the plunge. I at least had an idea what I wanted to do. So it wasn't just quitting my job and thinking, now what? It was very much, yes, quitting my job and then having a clear intention about the direction I was going to go in, but no real plan about how I was going to get to the destination. Even the destination wasn't clear,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there was something along the journey of food. And
See,
that's how I ended up doing what I'm doing.
I think being in that room, you could probably resonate being a business owner yourself because most people in that room were there as business owners, growing their business through speaking.
Yeah.
But I got home from that event, or you did mention it to the event. At the event, you said to me, "Oh, well, I'm running these dinners, these invitation only dinners, and I'd like to invite you." And, people say that at events, but actually the invitation landed in the inbox. And that was the follow up on your part. Thank you very much. And you invited me along to one of these dinners. Tell us a little bit why you wanted to create those dinners, because for me, they're about connection, but also the enjoyment of the food and the wine, of course. It was all wonderful. It was just the most amazing experience. And I haven't properly said thank you, and I haven't properly advocated for it because it is the most amazing experience. Why create these experiences, these food experiences?
I guess if we go back to maybe some of the core values of Scratch Cook Social, fundamentally, as a business, we envision that we get back to eating whole foods and creating connections around food and having a stronger, deeper appreciation for not only eating the food, but the source of the food, where it's come from, showing gratitude for the way the food is being put together. Then ultimately, when you are with other people and eating with other people, it gives everyone a sense of joy, especially coming from a fast-paced environment where everything is on delivery, on demand. It's about just taking a step back and enjoying the food that we have around us. So fundamentally, that's what Scratch Cook Social is about. And the social element was, well, how do we start doing more of that social element to you can't force people to come together, but maybe you can create an environment where want to come together. And actually, the collaboration was actually with the venue, Maison Interiors. And this is an interesting story for me anyway. Maison Interiors, an interior design company in Leamington, opened up I think it was December last year. And another business contact of mine and a friend now locally in Leamington said, the next day after he went to this opening, he said, Raj, you need to get in contact with these guys. I think there's some opportunities for both of you. So I said, oh, okay, I'll give Alex a call. And we arranged to meet in January because we were both busy through Christmas. Um, and he invited me in and met Alex and Joanne. Joanne's the interior designer. Alex is the guy that runs the company. And he said, look, I really want to show you my barbecue out back. We're building this interior design showroom. We're going to put an asado grill outside. It's not finished yet, but and Joanne was telling me how she designed this whole Ibiza theme. And I got super excited. I can cook barbecue in the middle of town. This is like something really special. So and he said, can we think about doing like some barbecue nights in? I said, you know what? You've got a beautiful kitchen here and you've created an environment which makes it feel like a home. Why not just use a whole space? We can use a whole space and we can do a dinner party. Let's have a dinner party. I mean, my space isn't big enough to have a dinner party for that many people. But this is, and it could work really well because it's community focused. It's in the heart of Leamington. People see it every day. And between us, we knew there were a number of people we would like to connect with each other. So we curated a list. We came up with an idea. We came with the date, and we put it out there, and everyone came. And I think that was the joy of it. We were able to bring together lots of people from different walks of life that didn't necessarily know each other. but it really felt during the eve by the end of the evening, everyone made a new connection. And that for us was the goal, right? We created connections, deeper
Yeah,
connections around food. And everyone enjoyed the food as well, I think. As you said you enjoyed the food, so
it was
that's
amazing.
all
And
good.
I love that type of food anyway, which you knew. It was just, it's a shame Mita wasn't invited as well. But yeah,
She keeps telling me that as well.
We're not going to talk about that. That's a
No,
different
we shouldn't.
podcast.
Can you
no,
cut that?
no
Yeah, because
point.
that's going to cause something another issue.
It was an amazing experience, and this is what I say. It was an experience, and that was what came for me. Yes, I knew of, I think, two people in the room, but I hadn't had a conversation with them. One person I'd met briefly at another event, but we hadn't had a conversation, and that was the thing. The connections were made, and this is what the power of connection is. And then those people can continue those connections and conversations afterwards if they
Right.
want to, you know. And you did something quite unique, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this. You asked us to invite other connections along to tell them about it, which I thought was a great marketing strategy.
Yeah, I guess we did not want this to be a one-off. It's not a one-off, right? I think it's like that butterfly effect where I think you have to experience something to know how to talk about it with somebody else. If I just sent an email invitation out to 50 random people, I wouldn't get a response for any of those. So I
No.
think it's a storytelling. It's your experience of how you felt being part of this, and then how you can convey that to somebody else. I can't convey it in your words, but you can convey it in your way to the people that you're connected with. And so that was the idea to allow the people that came along to the first event to tell others about it. And then we hope to continue to do more.
Yeah. And I think, Mita, if you told me about this event, oh, my husband does this, and you could, I probably was, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, yeah. And I think you're so right, because you can see Raj's passion from when he talks, his passion for food, his love for what he does. And I think I may have even mentioned, whether it was in the car at some point, that Sandra loves good food. I think maybe we said it in the car on the way home when you invited her. And I remember saying Sandra loves good food. And from what I remembered, Sandra loves chilies or
Yeah.
chili flakes. I think I'd read that somewhere, or
Yeah, I put
I'd
chilies. Curry's my favorite food. Anything curried, anything with chili flakes on. I love spicy food. I love flavor. Yeah. So it's interesting. I think you must have realized that, Mita, from maybe our conversations on
Yeah,
my
I
social
think so.
posts. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think Raj came up to me and said, "I hear you love good food."
Yeah.
So I think that
Yeah.
he knew that from you. But you obviously thought at that time this would be a good connection. The fact Raj was in the room probably, happened by accident. I don't know whether it was by design, but actually it was a great connection. Now I've experienced what Raj has to offer. I've also experienced what Mita has to offer, being in the room and speaking on my stages. You had to be the first married couple on my podcast because I've experienced what you both have to offer. And now I can talk from those experiences. And obviously, Mita, you know that I advocated for you to then come and share on another stage, and give you another opportunity because I'd seen you speak once. Therefore, I'm going to advocate for you to speak on other stages. And that's what I've done. I've introduced you to other stages and to my audience in a different way. And I just love the fact that I can facilitate this, but it leads to other things, and that connection thing. And I think, Raj, what you'll find is going forward, each person you've invited will then invite others to explore this, and it will have that ripple effect.
Yeah, yeah, that's the idea. And outside of the room, I think for us is when people are reconnecting outside of the room, when they've left the table
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they've created those connections to say, oh, maybe we can do X, Y, and Z together. Or I more and more often than not, it's more about saying, I need someone to do, I need an expert in a certain area, but I don't know who that is.
yeah,
And through a deeper conversation over dinner, you're going to learn that, I think, in a smaller environment. And as you know, Sandra, there are only like 10 people around the table. So it's not like you've got lots of people to get around to talk to.
mm,
So I think it's enabling people to have a deeper conversation as well.
yeah. I
That's
think I
important.
like the fact it was very informal at the start. I can imagine in the summer people would be outside for longer.
Yeah.
Um, the fact they had a fully working kitchen in an interior design business, How unique is that? Because usually it's a kitchen showroom. They open the cooker and they've got all the different colours of the different cookers you can buy and things like that. No, they open the oven and you were cooking in that
Yeah.
kitchen. You were cooking on that barbecue out the back. The food was phenomenal. And I'm not just saying that. It was fine dining. It was phenomenal. It was lovely for you to be in the kitchen plating that and we were just mesmerized at one point. We were watching you put the foam into one of the dishes, and I was just staring at it. The way you were doing that, it was just a lovely experience. Mita, if I were to say, obviously you're going to advocate for your husband and your husband's business. You want everyone to know what a great business is, not just the fine dining part, but also the food. Is it food trucks you do, Raj?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a street food
For
business as
events.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, for events and things. But, you must be very proud of him as well.
Yeah, I am. It's been a real journey. I'm obviously very lucky. I always get asked, is this what dinner looks like in your house every single day? And the answer is sometimes. Sometimes it does, and sometimes, I mean, you were looking very excited to him putting the foam in something. We're sat at the dinner table going, can we hurry up? Can you stop taking pictures for the gram? And can we just eat our dinner? And sausages and mash doesn't need to be perfectly placed. But on a serious note, yeah, I am really, really proud of him because he has got so much drive and so much passion in everything that he does. And he's really taken the best parts of his corporate world and his corporate experiences and building relationships and the food. He's kind of just taken the best bits and created something quite unique. So it's really lovely to be a part of. And I get to work on the food truck as well sometimes. So that's a lot of fun.
Fantastic. And Raj, you've got to say something nice about Mita now.
Yeah, look.
We've got to do this fairly. So you were sat in the audience at Mic Drop Live. You were seeing Mita speak on stage. How did you feel?
I was so proud. Actually, every time I see Mita speak, I'm very, very proud because I know she's changing people's lives. She genuinely is. You just have to look at the testimonials and feedback that she gets from her clients or the people that she interacts with. Um, and that's really special. Yeah, I think that's really special where you can really change the course of someone's life through something you do for them. And that's what Mita does. She really does.
Lovely. Well, sadly, we're running out of time, and I've really enjoyed this conversation. I always ask my guests to share a piece of advice, a piece of wisdom, or top tip with the audience, just something maybe that you've learned during your life or during your business journey. Mita, what would yours be?
I think given that we're talking about connection and conversations and networking, I guess, is to not overthink the interaction. We can go into these rooms thinking I need to say a certain thing, and I'm a big believer in energy and the energy that you put out. And sometimes that says a lot more than your 60-second pitch. So just be you, be authentic, be genuine, be interested, because I think that's when some of the best opportunities happen for you.
Yeah.
Raj, what would your piece of advice, your mic drop moment for the audience?
Yeah, I think we stay on the same theme of connection. I guess the connection maybe starts before the conversation. It starts with what is it I'm willing to share with somebody else? I think if you know what that's going to be, then it's probably easier to make a connection. Um, and in my mind, I think food just happens to be the most honest way to do that.
And it's traditional, it's historic. There's so much in that, and thank you both so much. It's been a great, great first married couple episode. I'm glad you
Thank
both
you.
said nice things about each other. Uh, and we will share your links and how to connect with you in the show notes. Thank you very much, Meeta Darji and Raj Darji.
Thank you
Thanks
very
so
much.
much, Sandra. Thanks for having us.